Welcome to the Talk Football Podcast, hosted by Alan Hodge and Adam James. Don't forget to follow us on our socials, and we hope you enjoy this podcast. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome back to the Talk Football Podcast. This is TFP #8, and this is part 2 of our promotion team focus. And today we are looking at Burnley. So Burnley have done a bit in the transfer market, as you can see on the screen, notably from my club Chelsea. They've been pinching players left, right and centre. So obviously defensive midfielder Leslie Ugochukwu, who was on loan last season away from Chelsea. I thought he might have stuck around and I thought we might have used him, but we kept Santos in the end at Chelsea, so we've let him go. Some good money as well. Like I say, I mean, it's all in euros, but 28 million euros, I don't know what that works out, 25 million quid, whatever. But he's a good player. I think he'll do okay for Burnley. The one I was a little bit surprised about was Amanda Broja going there. Bearing in mind his injury record, I'm quite surprised that we've managed to maybe rob Burnley of near on 20 odd million quid. Florentino, I don't really know much about him at all, nor Chichalna, if that's how you pronounce it. But a good amount of money spent on him from Lazio, so it'd be interesting to see how he does. And then obviously they took one of our Chelsea youngsters in Bashir Humphreys. I'd be really interested to see how he does. Bit of a shame for him that he didn't get a chance really, but obviously with Chelsea signing Joao Hato, who can cover left back and left centre back, it was not too surprising really to see him go. But I'm glad to see that he's got a move to the Premier League with Burnley. So yeah, I mean, not too many outs really that have in terms of bringing money in, but yeah, you've got James Trafford, who obviously departed back to Manchester City, which would be an interesting one now for him because obviously they bought in Donnarumma on transfer deadline day. So I'm not quite sure how that's really going to work out for him now, especially being a World Cup year. I think he's maybe being a bit of a tricky situation. Maybe that will open the door for Aaron Ramsdale to get back in the England squad if he can get in front of Nick Pope at Newcastle. But anyway, back to Burnley. So yeah, I mean, they've done pretty well on the transfer side of things. And then looking at their opening 3 fixtures, obviously it was a tough one against Man United. They probably actually could have got something out of that. United were, in my opinion anyway, a little bit fortunate. Obviously they had the game against Derby County, who obviously our co-host, who's live down here watching on TikTok in bed. Obviously they beat Derby, knocked them out of the cup, but then they had a really positive result against Sunderland, which obviously fellow promoted team. So that was a really important win, really important for Scotty Parker to get some points on the board early doors. I do think it's going to be a tough season. In their 3rd fixture against Spurs, they were really blown away. So I think it's going to be a real tough season for them. I do think that they're going to go down. I don't quite think they'll have enough. I don't think really they're going to score enough goals. And I don't think, in my opinion, that Broja will be the answer to that because I don't think he'll stay fit. And you've only really got to look at his injury record. I hope he does. I hope I'm proved wrong. And I hope that, Scotty Parker can have a real good go at keeping Burnley up. And it may just be a case that a couple of other current established Premier League teams just have that off season, whether that's a West Ham, like I mentioned in the Sunderland episode, whether or not that will be the case for Burnley, and it might give them a chance, who knows. And obviously they can strengthen again potentially if they're in a position where they've picked up some points, and they can strengthen again in January, then it may well give them a shot. But I think it's going to be tough for them. Looking forward into their September fixtures, next up for them in the Premier League, they are at home to Liverpool. And you'd expect, although Liverpool have been a little bit leaky at the back, They didn't obviously get Mark Gahey from Palace to strengthen up their defence. So yeah, they had to play Szoboszlai obviously against Arsenal right back, but he actually did very well, and of course he scored that wonderful free kick. So looking at that, you'd expect, even though it's at Turf Moor, you'd expect Liverpool to go there and win by a few goals. So looking at the next fixture, they're at home to Forest. Yeah, again, Forest are one of these Jekyll and Hyde teams. You don't really quite know what you're going to get with Forest. So there is a potential, maybe, if they can keep it tight at the back, that they'll maybe be able to, maybe pinch a couple of goals on the break. Forest do tend to play quite high and direct through Chris Wood and getting their midfield breaking beyond him. So there is a potential maybe to catch him out on the break and maybe get something. And then again, they play finishing out September's fixtures with an away trip to Man City. Yeah, again, it's a bit of a funny one with Man City because you don't really know what you're going to get with them at the moment. Obviously, they've got the firepower through Haaland, Mamouche to blow people away, but they do look a little bit vulnerable at the back. It'd be interesting to see if Donnarumma comes in and straight away as a number one. You'd probably expect him to, being that he's a Champions League winner last season with PSG. He has that experience over James Trafford, so you think he would probably start in goal. So I think that'd be a tough away trip for Burnley. I'm not really giving them too much in that, but you never know. Football's a funny old game, as a famous pundit used to say. Pushing into October, they're away again to Aston Villa. I would expect maybe with the players that they've signed, once they start bedding in with Villa's fortunes might well start turning around a little bit, and that could spell bad news for Burnley. Then they're at home to fellow promoted team Leeds, and these are the sort of games that if you're going to stay up, you really want to look at getting your points against the teams that are going to be, one, in and around you, and two, teams that obviously you know that you can get results against, and it'd be interesting to see who takes the points in that one. To me, that's got a potential draw written all over that. I think that'll be quite a cagey affair, but we'll see. And then they finish up with their October fixtures against Wolverhampton. So yeah, again, you don't really know what you're going to get with Wolves. Obviously, they lost one of their star players in the summer in Cunha, so it'd be interesting to see how, once we're back from the international break and after this transfer window, how Wolves will then settle down with what players that they've got. So yeah, so that's my look on Burnley. Unfortunately for Burnley fans, I really apologise to say it, but I do think you're going to struggle. I do think you're probably going to go down. Hopefully you'll put up a better fight than the last 2 seasons worth of promoted teams do. And you have already got 3 points on the board, so that's a starting point. That's a good positive. And Scotty Parker, I think he's a very good manager, and I do think if you stick with him, I don't see any point in if results go bad. I don't see any point in sacking Scott Parker, because realistically, who's going to come in and do a better job? He got you promoted off of a solid foundation. I know you didn't score massive amounts of goals. They obviously tried to address that situation by signing Broja, and obviously the lad from Lazio. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how you get on, and if you can actually start getting a few goals. I mean, you scored a few goals, like I say, unlucky in the United game. So yeah, Burnley fans, I wish you all the best, but I think it's going to be a tough old long season. So yeah, coming up next on the next episode, we're going to have a focus on Leeds United and look at their transfer window and their results and fixtures from the early part of the season. So for anyone that's over here live on TikTok, if you want to ask a question about Leeds United in the upcoming one, please do. I'll answer it if I can. We'll look at their ins and outs on terms of transfers, and that will be the third part of this little mini series about the promoted teams. So if you want to get in contact with the show, please do so. You can do so via any of our socials, which is just search us up, we're Talk Football Podcast. And if over here on YouTube, please drop a sub. It really means the world to us if you do that. So that'd be great if you could please drop us a little sub. It costs you nothing. means everything to us. And if you want to get in, come on the show as a guest and talk about your club, have a good old rant about VAR or anything else. And that doesn't just mean Premier League teams. It could be any club in any of the EFL non-league. We do cover a lot of non-league football with the matchday vlogs that we do. So if you're interested in those things and seeing grounds that you might not normally get to see, pop across and have a look at the matchday vlogs, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you very much for watching Talk Football Podcast. Don't forget to follow the socials, and why not subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on the next episode.